Hello everyone and welcome back to the video. In today's video, we're going to be going over CEO and King of Fields. Now, Maysuma Top 13 also happened this weekend, and it was the biggest event of the weekend at an S plus tier, but because it was so big, we're going to give it its own video. And CEO and King of Fields, you had CEO barely not being a major and King of Fields barely being a major, so we're going to put these into one video, and we're going to put Maysuma into its own video. Just in case you are curious for that, you can just come back tomorrow. But for CEO, we have our top 16 of this tournament. In 13th place, you're going to have Goblin, Mudace, Regalo, and TM7 Zap. In 9th place, you have Grape, Almighty, Chunky Kong, and Yosifu. In 7th place, you have Esan and Beastmode Paul. 5th place, Riku and Apollo Kage. 4th place, MBD. 3rd place, Yara. 2nd place, Riddles. And winning the entire thing, you had to Buzz. The first players I want to talk about are all these Snake players that did well at CEO. You have Grape, who ended up getting 9th place, Apollo Kage, who ended up getting 5th place, and MBD, who ended up being 4th place. So highest placing Snake at the tournament. Really big shout out to him for that. But you have Apollo Kage, who got wins on Chunky Kong and Grape to be able to get into the top 8. You have Grape, who unfortunately got 9th place, losing to both MBD and Apollo Kage. So that's a little bit unlucky, but you do have him picking up a win on Jazo, so got to be feeling good about that placement. You have MVD getting upset fairly early on by Riku. We'll talk about his run in a little bit, and then MVD goes monstrous in the losers bracket, beating Kobe, beating TM7 Zap, beating Grape. Once in the top 8, he beats Beast Mode Paul, as well as getting the run back on Riku 3-0 before losing to Riddles. You have Apollo Kage dropping sets to Dabuz and Riddles, by the way, in case those are curious. So even though Apollo Kage is not the highest placing Snake at this tournament, he did lose to Dabuz and Riddles. You know, MVD just kind of ran into Riddles after, but MVD also took another game that Apollo Kage didn't take. Apollo Kage set was 3-1, MVD set with 3-2, and I know MVD underperformed at the last tournament he went to, so really nice bounce back from him. This is one of his best placements in a long time. He got a bunch of good wins, got a run back in tournament, which always feels good. You know, you got upset by Riku, but then when they made it to you again, you're able to beat them. That's got to be a confidence booster. So huge shouts to MVD for this run and all the Snake players because they did amazing. There's also just a lot of upsets that happened this weekend throughout all 3 of the tournaments. I'd say the biggest one for CEO is going to be wins like Omega losing to Hungrybox, which is pretty crazy. Huge shouts to Hungrybox for that one. I feel like if you don't regard Hungrybox as an established top player in Smash Ultimate anymore, you're just kind of blind to it. His results have been pretty good. Omega's another great win to have under your belt. Like, he should be super happy with that. Mudace ends up losing to Chunky Kong in loser side and Yosifu in the winner side of bracket, but he still does get a win on Jazo and a 13th place, so it's not the end of the world, but definitely underperforming the seed there. You have Toast and Kobe, who end up playing, going game 5. It does go into Toast's favor, but both players end up getting 17th place anyway, so that title for Young Link, that duel, I feel like it's going to be an eternal one, though Toast did win the Ditto, so that's all I'll say about that. But those are all the upsets we're going to be going over for now. Again, there's a couple I didn't mention because we'll just mention them later on because they were just kind of some top 8 runs. But if there is any player I leave out at any point in this video, just let me know down below, leave a comment. I'll be sure to tell you how their run was. And while you're down there, you should subscribe. I'm just saying. In 7th place, you had both Esan and Beastmode Paul. We'll start with Beastmode Paul, who actually is a pretty nice loser run after losing to Yara, which is kind of unfortunate to be put in Yara's path. And then Beastmode Paul in a row beats Sen, Regalo, and Almighty to be able to get top 8. With Hero, this is probably the best performance we've ever seen from an American Hero player. You obviously have Aka in Japan, who's been getting results for a little bit now, but this is still really good from Beast Mode Paul. Again, I would say it's the best NA performance we've ever seen from a hero, so he should be feeling pretty good about that. And Esam as well. It's been a little bit since we've seen Esam go on a big run, but he gets top 8 here. Unfortunately, his run does fall to Riddles, but to be honest, that's just kind of bad bracket luck. In the winner side of bracket, he's able to get an upset over MPG and then beat TM7 Zap, who actually upset Riddles, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And then in the loser side of bracket, after losing to Riku in a very close game 5 set, he managed to beat Chunky Kong to be able to get into top 8. Once in the top 8, Esam had an amazing game 5 with Riddles. Probably should have won that in multiple scenarios, but also Riddle should have won in multiple scenarios. It's really hard to explain. I would just watch the set because it was a banger, but overall, Esam looked like 30 times better at this tournament than he has in the past. He just looked way more comfortable. His conversions were so much more clean, and I was really impressed by his play. I hope he can continue seeing this because this is what peak Esam is starting to look like. One of the star runs of the tournament has to go to Riku, though, who managed to get a 5th place with Steve. This is their first top 8 at an event of this scale. Again, it's not quite a major, but it's pretty much a major, the amount of top players that you're going to have to go through. Riku had to beat Esam to be able to get into the top 8, as well as beating both MBD and Goblin before that. So an amazing run from them. And with Onin kind of taking a little bit of a step back from the game, that title of Best Steve in America is up for debate again. You obviously do have Almighty, who made his return here, as well, getting a nice 9th place, but Riku is looking to be that main candidate for that slot. Now, I'd say the other person in contention would be, of course, Almighty, and D-Dog's another one I can think of. There's a bunch of good C players you can note, of course, but Riku, this is a really strong result from him, and he should be super happy with it. So our top three of this tournament is pretty typical. You have Yara in third, which makes sense, Riddles in second, and Dabuz actually winning the whole thing. Now, the manner of what happened is a little bit unorthodox. Yara's run's pretty typical. He gets a nice win on Riku once in the top 8. Before top 8, he's able to get a win on Yosufu. He did benefit from the Mutes upset, but overall, I think Yara getting top 3 isn't super unexpected. What is unexpected is Riddle's loser run, because it is insane. He loses very early on to TM7 Zap in the winner's side of bracket, so shouts to TM7 Zap for that one, because not only did he get 13th in this tournament, he beat Riddles with Bowser Jr., which is kind of crazy, but Riddle's losers run, he beats Fatality, MPG, and that is just to get into top 24. Once in top 24, he beats Aaron, Goblin, and Yosufu. Now he's in the top 8. Once in the top 8, he beats Esam, Apollo Kage, MVD, Yara, and does reset the bracket versus Dabuz. Just an insane loser run from Middles. But we got to talk about the winner of this tournament, because this is Dabuz's biggest tournament win to date. This is a huge deal. It's going to do really well for him on the ranking season. Dabuz's season towards the latter end has been so strong. He does so well at Cog has a nice placement at Battle of BC. Now he has an amazing result here. And he also just got a bunch of good wins alongside this tournament. He beat Toast, Tachyon, as well as Almighty to be able to get into the top 8. Once in the top 8, he's able to beat Apollo Kage, Yara, and Riddles to be able to win the entire bracket. Rosalina did most of the work, though he did use a bit of Almar versus Yara. So overall, massive win for Dabuz. Again, he's been recovering his season really well, has been looking super strong as of late. I'd say a top 5 player in America once again, which is really nice for him, and I'm excited to see how his season continues. Our next tournament is going to be King of Fields 95. In 13th place, you had Kid, Raflo, Mezcal, and Neskino. In 9th place, you had Aiken, Leon, Gogesta, and Eco. In 7th place, you had Modzai and Tarek. 5th place, you had Karama and Space. 4th place, you had Siski. 3rd place, you had Quick. 2nd place, you had Luki. And winning the entire thing was Glutony. Now, there is one name that is very notably absent from that top 8, that top 16, and that is going to be Bloom Forever, because he got upset by Polynomius in pools, which is insane. Had to beat Homika to get out of pools, by the way, for Bloom Forever, which is kind of crazy. Then in the lower set of bracket, he ended up running into M4E, who has been playing incredibly hot as of late, for a very low placement at his only major of the season, which is pretty unfortunate. He ends up getting a 33rd, so that's pretty much going to hurt his chances of being ranked good this season, even with his performances at regionals, which is a bit unfortunate, but to be fair, this is Europe's only major. He probably wouldn't have been ranked that high anyways. I still have a lot of faith in Bloom as a player. I think this is just kind of a one-off bad placement, and he lost to 2 very good players. Again, N4E is a massive up-and-comer, so it's not the end of the world for him, but it's unfortunate that the only major he went to this season is going to be an underperformance. Also, there was so many losers runs at this tournament. Just to name a couple, you have Aiken, who beat Andres FN, Super Semi, Azrael, and Naskino for a 9th place. Naskino getting 13th with Zelda, by the way, which is pretty impressive. But you're giving Super Semi a 25th. Andres FN a 33rd, so that's pretty insane. Huge shouts to Aiken for that, because that's a bunch of good wins. Doing it as an invader as well has got to feel good. You have Mezcal beating Orion, Artsnith, and Chag. Only lose to Leon, who is on a loser's run of his own, beating Ryukai, Vince, and then, of course, Mezcal. Like, I could go on and on. The last one I'll mention is Kid's loser's run, who played Me Brawler, beating Ogi, Nader Yu, Adrian, and Longo before losing to Lugi. Like, this tournament, I'm going to leave a link to the bracket down below. I highly recommend you look at it, because it feels like every single match that happened was either an amazing player that got upset, sent to losers, versus someone that was having the longest losers run of their life. Like, it was such a ridiculous bracket, and it only gets better in the top 8. Our 10th place finishers were Modzai and Tarek, starting off with Modzai, who got wins on Rarchoyer and Super Semi in the winner side of bracket before losing to Glutony, and then was able to get a win on Leon in the loser side of bracket. Also, something to note, I didn't know Modzai actually had a secondary Kazuya, but it did put in work this tournament. It was able to get him that dub over Leon, though the Pac-Man was able to get him, I'd say, his most big tournament win, which was over Super Semi. So that's a really good run from Modzai, another top 8 from a Pac-Man player. And now that title of Best Pac-Man is a little bit up in the air, with T unperforming performing and a couple other players doing well. JDV, I don't know, Modzai has been performing as late, but in actuality, this is still T, of course. One performance doesn't mean everything, but still, really good run from Modzai. He should be happy with that. Tarek as well. His season's actually been really strong because he does well at Battle BC, ends up getting a nice 17th place here. Another really nice run from him here, getting a couple ones in the loser side of bracket, beating Crep Saleh, Raflo, and Go Guess to be able to get into the top 8. Also using a secondary Kazuya. I would definitely call him the best Greninja player in the world at this point as well. I feel like he's the only one really getting results with this character, so huge shouts to Tarek. I think his season's actually looking pretty good right now. In 5th place, you've had both Karama and Space. Starting off with Space, who looked insane in this bracket. He was able to beat Artsniff, Lugi, and Siski, all with Aegis, which isn't like super crazy. I feel like Aegis has been his more prominent character. He did take Gluttony to Game 5 with Inkling, which was a banger set, but unfortunately the Inkling was not able to prevail, and then he did fall in the loser side of bracket. But a really strong run from Space. This is Europe's biggest tournament of the year so far, and Space performs when it matters the most. You have Karama as well, the prominent invader of the event, beating Niraz, Pew, and Eco, who went crazy this tournament with Diddy Kong, by the way, beating M4E, so shouts to Eco for that. But this is a good performance from Karama. It is an unperformance seed. He was the 2nd seed at this tournament, so it is a little bit lower, but still, it's top 8 in a major. It's not the end of the world. Karama's been out on a really good streak right now. Does well at Summit, does well at Major Upset, does well at Crown, and now does well here. So his season looking really strong. In 4th place, you have Siski. 3rd place, you have Quick. So huge shoutouts to Quick for actually overperforming Siski here, especially after Siski's run at Battle of BC. Like, that was ridiculous. But let's talk about Siski's run. He ends up getting 4th place, does get upset by Space, but still gets wins on Longo, Aiken, Modzai, and Karama before falling to Lugi. So Karama getting double eliminated by Samus tournament, which is a little bit unlucky, as you do have Quick beating him as well as Chag, Go Gesta, and Trim, also losing to Lugi's ridiculous losers run and Gluttony. So both Samus players doing well here. You also have Yara getting 3rd place at CEO. Like, that title of best Samus is up in the air right now. You also have Tora, who's another one I could throw in there. Icy Mist is really good. Tease is really good. Like, again, there's a lot of very good Samus players who are in contention for the best Samus title, and it makes sense because she is an amazing character in tournament, but it seems like Siski and Quick are some of the front runners from it. Quick is a lot more inconsistent than Siski, but sometimes his peaks are ridiculous. Like, you think back to last year when he did amazing at E-Carabina, getting 2nd here. Kind of shades that with a 3rd place at this run, and then Siski, of course, another nice result for him. He really cleaned up his season towards the end there. And finally, in 2nd place, you have Lugi winning the entire thing. You have Gluttony. Now, this run from Lugi is insane. He loses to Mezcal, then gets upset by Space, then beats in a row Nitox, Kid, Eco, Tarek, Space, Siski, and Quick before losing to Gluttony. That is a ridiculous lose run. Did it with Luigi as well, who I feel like is a fairly volatile character, but looked super impressive there. Then you have Gluttony win the entire tournament with no sets drop, beating Neskino, who ended up, again, getting 13th place with Zelda, so kind of unlucky that you run to Gluto, maybe even could have gone further, but also beating Tarek, Modzai, Space, Quick, and Lugi to win the entire thing. And I gotta say, for Gluttony, a must-feel good taking home a European major, the only European major that's happened this season. You are the king of Europe, you gotta defend that title, and Gluttony has been struggling to defend it. Most recently, though, he's been doing a little bit better. He won Icarus over Bloom Forever, M4E, and Quick, as well as a couple other players, so the back-to-back in Europe, that's a really strong show from Gluttony. He should be very happy with that. Also won Slyland as well, so he's actually been farming Europe. And I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Again, we will be doing a video on Maysuma Top 13 tomorrow. There was just a lot to talk about at this event. It was originally supposed to be part of this video, but there was too much, so it gets its own. If there's any player that I left out at any point in the video, please let me know down below. Anything that I got wrong, all that kind of stuff, just so people are aware of what the correct things are. Yeah, that's all I got to say. Sports been absolutely real. Thank you guys for everything. Be sure to sub, all that yada yada, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.